Notnerd Podcast, Episode 222, Stale Rolls of Toilet Paper.
Welcome to the Notnerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we're here to help you tech better. We've got a little news to talk about this week. It's a bit thin, but here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Wait a minute. Why, when you said it's a bit thin, you were looking at the top of my head? What are we talking about? The news or my hair?
Yes, I almost picked a Amazon purchase of some shampoo, but I figured that neither of us cared about that one too much.
You'd give me PTSD or something talking about that.
Yeah, well, as I said, tech news has been a little thin besides coronavirus. Quick follow-up, I found a link to an article that's tracking all the tech events canceled due to coronavirus. There are many, many events in all realms. Large gatherings of people have been canceled or postponed. There's a lot of that type of stuff going on. We're still kind of waiting to see.
You know what disappoints me about this whole thing? I have yet to hear one parody song regarding the coronavirus. Like, hello everyone, my corona. Yeah. Like, nobody. I haven't heard any of these comedic songwriters coming out with anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's too soon.
Is it too sensitive? That's the only thing I'm disappointed in, really.
I'm sure there's something out there somewhere that...
Maybe.
I just found a link via Google, that service we keep mentioning. These 10 coronavirus songs bring some levity to the global panic.
Well, there you go. I just haven't been looking hard enough.
Yeah, Billboard.com.
Okay. Well, anyway, we both talked about, not really talking about the coronavirus, but it really has impacted technology quite a bit with all the conferences that are being closed, the logistics and shipments and fulfillments of products worldwide. I saw today that basically Italy has shut down.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing going on in Italy. House arrest.
It's pretty crazy. We actually have some friends that I believe are somehow traveling to Italy right now, a trip that they had planned. But if you are looking to travel, now is a good time to do it. I've got some other friends that are planning a last-minute Hawaii trip for a few days because price it. And I saw another article that there's basically planes flying empty.
Wow. So
that they can keep their priority and at the airports and stuff like that, and get the planes where they need to be, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, and they haul packages and those type of things as well. And my wife was saying that she saw that cruise lines prices are really low, considering that the one got quarantined. It's hard to sell tickets. So if you're adventurous, go for it. And who knows, maybe I'll go on a cruise this spring break and see where it takes me.
Yes, I try not to worry myself about these things too much until I get some real specific, hey, you need to be doing this. Yeah. I mean, the general consensus is wash your hands, and unless you have previous health issues, you're probably going to be okay.
I think one of the greatest side effects of this whole pandemic is going to be people are going to have better hygiene.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see fewer colds, see fewer flu, see fewer other things, because people are actually not coughing in their hands and then shaking the next guy's hand.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yes, that's a good, could have wide-reaching effects. But yeah, lots of stuff being canceled, and it seems like the tech companies are focusing on how they're going to do their conferences and not on releasing new products right now. Another piece of follow-up, one company that has made an announcement, Sonos, has killed its device bricking recycle mode. We talked that about a while ago, where you have this new system, and so the old ones you could trade in, get a discount, and there was this recycle mode that would basically turn your old one into a doorstop. Well, they have gone back on that because it was not popular.
So they've killed their device killing thing.
Yes, which was a smart move on their part. The next one's one you found. We were talking about Nintendo and Nintendo Wii and all the device sales. Well, this article talks about from Statista .com that the PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time.
Yes, and when I found this article, I found many other articles. It must be the PlayStation's 2 birthday or something going on.
Like that.
So everybody's talking about it, that when you add up all the numbers, PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time. Now, I never owned PlayStation 2. I was a PlayStation 1 person, and then I think I had nothing until the Xbox 360. I had a couple dry years there. But my brother had a PS2, and I played some games. And the PS2 is still somewhat of a mystery to me since I didn't own one. And you can't really do good PS2 emulation. And so, and I like to do all my game emulation on a Mac. Now there's some software for some PCs and probably Linux and stuff that does an okay job.
Yeah.
But the PS2 was, I think, weird enough and powerful enough that it's very hard to emulate in another computer to run the games smoothly and stuff. So many of the games that were released for it are just kind of a mystery to me.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, 155 million total sales. I did have a PS2, or my roommate did. I think I might still have one. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 or whatever it was. A couple other games I played a lot. But Sony really dominates this list. PS2 is number 1. PS4 is number 2.
Which gives you some concept of how many PS4s they've been selling.
Yeah.
A lot.
And then the original PlayStation, and then the PS3. So those 4 PlayStation models take 4 of the 5 top spots, with the Wii sneaking in at number 4.
Yeah, the Wii, which I always considered being one of the best selling consoles of all time, because you just see them everywhere. But yeah, Sony's PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 have just dominated.
That's crazy.
And I do have a broken PS3 that could potentially play PS2 games. It's one of those backwards compatible ones, but I've yet to fix it.
Yes. Well, one thing you will never yet to fix, Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
We might need to talk to somebody about fixing those segues, because
broken segue.
That was a little.
That was a stretch.
Yeah.
You didn't set me up very well on that one. I blame you.
Well, our at work we've had some disagreement between what and who should have access to our staff Wi-Fi password.
Yes.
And so I decided to implement some policies that might upset some people, but the crux of the matter is, when we're dealing with networks or computers or email accounts or websites, we really should be looking at strong passwords.
Yeah.
And this is something we've talked about before in the past, and we'll talk about it again in the future. But I wanted to go through quickly and just discuss the items that Google considers to be a secure, strong password. So I'll just simply read through these quickly, and I thought maybe we could have a bit of a discussion.
Yeah.
Step 1, create a strong password. Well, how do you do that, and why do you do this? Well, it's going to keep your personal information safe. It protects your files, your emails, and it prevents other people from accessing your account easily, so that's good. So what type of password requirements should you be looking at? Google maintains that you should have 8-character passwords or larger. You get much beyond that, it doesn't really matter. You're just probably 8 to 15 or 8 to 16 is longer than you'll ever need, for now anyway. But you don't want to pick weak ones like password 123. That's easily guessable. You don't really want to use passwords that you've used before on your account. So if you have a bank that you're logging into and it's Dave is cool 123, probably don't want to 3 years later come back and use that same password again. And then you don't want to start or end your password with a blank space. Now, this is where I yield to you. What is the deal with that?
I have never seen that one.
It may break. Maybe it
must
renders
break
it invalid.
some systems.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of tips. Make your passwords unique. You can make your passwords longer and more memorable. And of course, there are sub-bullet points to all these things. You want to avoid using personal information and common words. So I don't want to. Dave's street number.
Yes.
Whatever, 123.
Child's name and birth year, pet names, street names, all of that stuff, which I come across quite often in people's passwords.
Yeah, and here's some obvious things. You should hide a written password. Like, don't write it on a sticky note and stick it on your laptop. That renders it completely useless. Yeah. And I would say that if you are a person who has a laptop that other people use, I recommend creating a new user account for that person to use the same computer, but to keep them out of your account. Because guess what? You were just logged into your bank website. You walk away from your computer. They're going on to play a game or something. It's like, oh, I'm maybe going to embezzle your money. Yeah. You know, I hang around some pretty dastardly people. But anyway, and then what at the bottom does it say? Manage your passwords with a tool. And Nate and I both recommend LastPass if you want to keep your password secure in some type of software where you only have to really memorize one password, and it will unlock the software so that you can access all your other passwords. And let's talk about convenience. I go to my bank website, LastPass is logged in, I click one button, I'm in my website. I don't have to remember anything. And I think you said that you have LastPass generate strong random charactered passwords. So you don't even know what the passwords are.
No, it's those completely random, and I know that I don't have to worry about it because it is saved in there. So whenever I can do a completely random password, some of the ones like a master password for LastPass, which you don't want to save that in LastPass because if you can't get into your LastPass, you don't. You know, you can pick something like I have done some where it's like not a movie that I love that I have the poster of in my room, but a movie I don't like, and then change a word around or something. Use a couple random words that don't go together that people just can't guess, and not using the common stuff. But yeah, I think that is, you know, those are all good points. Obviously, Google is invested in you protecting your password and having a strong one. And I still, to this day, will be working on people's computers and ask what their password is. And they'll say, oh, it's ABC123. And I'll go,
At least you could use like a part of a book title or a phrase of poetry, or maybe you want to maybe have a favorite book, a children's book, and you're thinking, okay, it's line 1 from page 3, and you open up to that book, and it's Once Upon a Time, or whatever the line is. You could use that line or a variation of that line as your password. So it's unique to you. No one would ever guess that. And in a case like that, you would never even have to write it down because it would just be there. So anyway, I didn't intend for this to turn into a LastPass commercial. We're not sponsored by them in any way. I wish they were. Hey, LastPass, give us a call if you'd like us.
I think we do have an affiliate link that we can share. So we might get a kickback if you use our link to sign up.
Look at our show notes for that. Or on notnerd.com, we have those things listed there too. But secure, strong passwords will help make your life a lot easier to manage and maintain versus having someone steal your identity and or your money or give you malware or any of these other type of things.
Yep, that's good. And they've got some other tips at the end about recovery email addresses and phone numbers. So if somebody does get a hold of your account, it will improve your chances of getting it back, which is important.
Right. We'll link to this article in the show notes, and you can read it in all of its glory yourself.
Yes. Okay, well, on to our takes for the week. This first article is an interesting one I found, and it is the content boom, original content boom visualized. So there is a ton of stuff in here, and I did not get a chance to go through all of it, but you know, we've talked some with all the different streaming services there are now. Somebody went through and looked at the different services and how much original content they have and how much of a content boom we are in now. With 2020, it was up 48% over 2019.
Yeah.
And this is Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu originals.
And so this is just streamable content like TV shows and movies that we're talking about here?
Yeah. So streaming services catalogs of original content grew at the slowest rate in 2019 than in any year prior, but it's still a ton. It was over 100%. Back 2013, it was 5 up from 1, so that was the beginning of the original content.
Right.
But they have a ton of data here, and I think they even they go on one of the things, original TV shows versus movies, which there are more TV shows than movies, but it's still a lot of both.
Yeah, this is we're such in a weird time. You could go clear back to the black and white movies and then the talkies and all this stuff in the theaters, the invention of the Actors Guild type stuff. This whole movie industry and TV industry has just morphed and changed over time. And we're in this era where big studios used to create the content, then they would distribute it through movie theaters, through television broadcasters like CBS and NBC. And then it got into this streaming content world where those streamers would stream content produced by other people. And then the people who are creating the content said, hey, we want our own piece of the pie. So we're going to take some of that back, which forced the streaming companies to create their own content and become studios. And so the studios that pulled the content are responsible for the creation of original content
Yes.
on these streaming services.
Which is competition. Like Disney thought, hey, we'll take all our content back to our own service and nobody can compete with us. Well, now Netflix, Apple, Hulu, all these places are doing more and more of their original content.
And so everybody, the way it's going to settle down when the dust has cleared the air is every studio or content creator is going to have their own delivery mechanism through the internet. NBC is going to have their own streaming end products. CBS, ABC, Fox, PBS, Disney, Amazon, Netflix, all of them. You're going to have 32 different options of just content that they create and stream.
Yeah.
And so you'll have cable all over again. But instead of a channel that's dedicated to movies, it's going to be a channel that's dedicated to NBC movies or Lifetime movies, which we kind of have that already, but it's even going to be more diversified. And I don't know how anybody's ever going to afford any of this stuff. Like if there's a show on HBO, you got to subscribe to HBO. If NBC, you got to.
I know.
What are we going to do? Piracy is the answer.
Piracy, back to piracy. And the reason I'm remembering why I clicked on this article, the person that linked to it was talking about, they have a chart on here of how much do critics and audiences like what's on. So they took Rotten Tomatoes scores and looked at the critics versus the audience. And Apple TV has the biggest difference. The critics, on average, rated at 69%. However, Rotten Tomatoes works.
Yeah, positive. Fresh.
And then the audience is at 87%. So it's an 18-point difference between the two.
I thought the critics would like the Apple stuff better because it's all very high concept stuff.
But apparently not, because they don't like Apple for whatever reason.
Interesting.
So if you look at the other one, some of the other ones, HBO 8% higher on the critics. They're the biggest swung that way. But some really good data in here, a bunch of good looking charts that goes on and on and on, but you can go look at that in the show notes. Dave, this next one, your favorite in the whole wide world, Facebook.
Oh, is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Yes, they have a new tool to spot spammers and fake accounts, and they have already taken down billions of accounts. Billions with a B.
So I can be both positive and negative about this story. Negative because it's Facebook. I can always find a negative.
Yes.
So the great news is that billions of those accounts have been taken down. The bad news is for the past 10 years, billions of accounts have been spamming people. So what are the details of this?
So they have a new high-performance algorithm, even though they are still unsure if they will ever win the war against these fake accounts. Facebook's engineers have developed a more efficient machine learning tool, which has already helped take down 6.6 billion fake accounts in the past year. Billion.
Oh, my word.
And that's the population of Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, why are there more accounts on Facebook than people?
Fake accounts. And that number doesn't even include the additional millions of attempts to create fake accounts that are blocked daily.
I have an idea. What if Facebook goes through and routinely calculates the number of 13-plus-year-old people on this planet, whether they have access to technology or not, just 13 plus, and cap that as the number of accounts that Facebook can have?
Yeah.
Why are there more accounts than exist people?
Yes. Well, I know family members that have multiple things, but
guess what? They only get one.
Yes, much like most spam things, there's farms of people in low-wage countries where they just are paid 12 hours a day to create accounts and to be able to give fake, likes for groups or pages or spam.
This is actually going to hurt Facebook because they sell advertising based on the number of people who view it. And if they just got rid of 6 billion of their users, I'm sure some of those fake users were part of the advertising metrics as far as what they're charging people.
So hopefully this seems to be a new tool that will help them in this war against, oh man. The article continues, and the stakes are getting higher. Only last year, Facebook removed a global network of more than 900 accounts, pages, and groups that had used sophisticated methods such as AI-generated profile pictures to spread pro-Trump narratives to 55 million users, operated by accounts based in Vietnam and in the US. The fake profiles were feeding into a complex network by administering groups, increasing the membership of these groups, and liking posts on pages. So that kind of gives you one example of how this is being used to make things look more real than they are and just cause lots of problems. So endless battle, much like email spam, which we just can never get past.
Here's another thing is I think that they should, by default, cap geolocation type stuff so that if you are a person in America, by default, you can connect with other people in America. But if you want to connect to users outside of the country, you have to explicitly enable that.
I think there's a lot of people that disagree with that thinking.
Well,
I think
they're
people
wrong.
want to be able to connect with the rest of the world.
Well, you still can. It's just not by default.
I think you would get some pushback. There's some term there of
Is it?
There's an ism that you're using there that
It's xenophobic.
Xenophobic-ism.
No.
Yes.
Xenophism.
Yes.
Well,
then they just use a VPN and look like they're in the U.S.
Again,
a battle you're not going to win.
My thought is regarding like election type coverage.
Yes.
If you could prevent traffic coming in from outside the country concerning topics of American elections, then perhaps you could stem some of this. So maybe it's not all communication. Maybe it's just related to
certain
political
items, which they have put a lot of things in place, in theory. The next one, let's get something a little better for you. Drones.
Yes.
You found this article that drones can navigate like bats using 4 mics and a speaker.
So this blew my mind. Now, I know nobody within the sound of my voice cares more about the drone topic than I do. And many of you probably hate the topic and are turning off your podcast. Skip forward 60
We don't
seconds.
have apps, but we do have drone segments, folks.
Right. So the current state of the art is a drone will fly around with these little cameras, and sometimes they're infrared cameras. Most of them are just visible light cameras.
Yeah.
And if it's like, hey, I'm going towards a tree, maybe I ought to steer away from the tree, right?
Yeah.
Some of them have, I'm sure some of them more expensive ones have like proximity type sensors, but most of them are based on optical cameras, just like because they're cheap. I mean, a cell phone camera is probably 12 cents, right? So they put these on there and they outfit them, and then the software does all the heavy lifting. Well, some clever person came up with the idea of using transmitters and speakers to mimic echolocation like our friends the bats.
Yeah.
And so it shoots out an inaudible tone. I'm sure it probably drives dogs and bats crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But you shoot out this inaudible tone. It bounces back off the fauna and flora around you and is interpreted back to the speakers on board the aircraft, which can find its position. Apparently, it's great in addition to the GPS to help the drone locate where it is because it can see the ground, and it doesn't matter if it's light or dark outside because it's using sound and not light. And that was the aha moment for me. It's like when I fly my drone in, like this morning I flew, it was foggy conditions because I was trying to get some cool shots. It didn't really work out. but had I been approaching a tree that I couldn't see or the drone couldn't see, it would have been nice if I had some type of echolocation that could have said, hey, maybe I'm going to go higher so I don't crash. Anyway, I think this is exciting technology, and it's only going to make drones better and better. And pretty soon you're just going to be able to have your smartphone and click a button and say, go over here and do this thing, and it's just going to go off and do it and then come back and it didn't hit anything or whatever. And this is a tremendous advantage for autonomous drones that will probably be used by Amazon and other delivery services, as well as the medical industry, which we've talked about from shipping products back and forth to people in need. So anytime there's a drone technology, I'm excited for it.
Very nice. The last take I have, and it's just because there were many takes, Netflix has introduced some top 10 lists for their service. They've got all those lists.
Are they all their content, or is it other people's content?
I think they're trying to be somewhat objective with it and not do that, but they've got some different lists. And so, I mean, Netflix tries to shove everything down your face all the time anyways, so they've got a new top 10 feature.
Well, I'll have to check that out. I was not aware of that.
Yes. Our security and privacy story of the week talks about how a hacker's mom broke into a prison and the warden's computer.
This is astounding.
Yes. So it's a fun article, a fun little story here. He's a penetration tester, so that's the kind of stuff he did, and he figured he wanted to do it for a prison, South Dakota Correctional Facility. He sent his mom in because...
Into the prison?
Into the prison. Not to be in prison.
Okay.
To visit the prison.
I see. So she was posing as a guest to
Yes.
visit an inmate. Okay.
Yes, she posed as a state health inspector to
Okay.
gain access.
All right.
And so she gets in there, and she took a bunch of... And this is very similar to... Is it iRobot? What's that TV show with the guy from
I think
Queen movie?
I think it's iRobot.
Yes. I get...
Remy Malek is the
Yes,
actor that you're
I
talking
get that show and the robotic vacuums mixed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So whatever his show is, they did this where she spread out some USB keys with malware on them.
Okay.
And so...
Did
some
she
people
lay them
took
on the table, or did she put them in the computer?
She laid them out. So...
Free USB key. Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, so she didn't have a lot of technical experience. She doesn't, she couldn't plug into a jack somewhere and start typing in like they do in the movies.
As you asked me the other day, Dave, do you even internet?
Yes.
So I guess she doesn't internet.
Yes, yeah. So she took some malicious USB sticks, and I guess she did try to plug them into, as many as she could, but
Right.
she gave them, had some around there. But you can go read through the whole story.
I can just imagine this timid little mother who's like
Yes.
scared to death of getting caught is just shakily trying to put it into the computer. And of course, it never goes in right the first time. And so you flip it and then it doesn't go in, and you flip it back and then magically it goes in like it was the first
Yeah.
time. So good.
But you can read through the rest of the story, but a good reminder that you can have all kinds of security, but if you just have a nice old lady,
Yep. You're at,
just like Dumb and Dumber.
yeah, and this phrase came up to me a couple times this past few days. You're only as strong as your weakest player. And when security comes into play, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And in this case, it's employees who want a free USB disk. So good.
Yes. One other point in there, it does say, at the end of the inspection, the prison director asked Rita to visit his office and suggest how the facility might improve its food service practices. She ran through some concerns, informed by decades being on the other side of health inspections, because she worked in the food industry before.
Mm-hmm.
Then she handed him a specially prepared USB drive. The state had a helpful self-assessment checklist, she told the director, that he could use going forward to identify issues before an inspector showed up. So it had a Word document on it. He plugged it in. It had a malicious macro, and it says, "We were just dumbfounded," Strand says. "It was an overwhelming success." Oh,
Trojan
yes.
horse. Trojan
yes. But that's a good little one there. Our bonus odd take. Now, I kept this one in there, but when I first saw the link, it must have been late at night. I kept thinking it said OnePlus snow boots. Now, OnePlus, they make cell phones and all
Yeah.
kinds of technology stuff, and I kept thinking it said snow boots when I just clicked on the link to look at it later. When I got back in there and was typing in the notes, I was like, oh, it's snow bots.
Okay, so
That makes a little more sense.
but does it? I still don't know what a snowbot is.
Yeah, so when you go to the webpage, it says the OnePlus Snowbots experience the speed of 5G in the first ever interactive snowball fight with people from all over the world. We have built snowball firing robots that are powered by a OnePlus 5G phone. We call them Snowbots. Games start March 9th. Are you ready? So I haven't seen any updates because that is today as we record. Now, this is a promo for the new OnePlus 7T, which
Okay.
has 5G service on it.
That makes sense.
So you basically, it's not quite as exciting as I was hoping. You can't buy a snowball robot to control with your phone, but they've set these ones up in an environment where you can go in there and you can use these robots to throw snowballs at other robots that are controlled by other people around the world.
That sounds like a worthless waste of time, but who knows? It could be fun.
Yeah, so you can, with a OnePlus account, and you get signed in there. I'm guessing it's probably pretty busy. And then one of the questions is, are these actually real robots firing snowballs at each other? And their answer is, yes. Can I see the snowbots in real life? Are you in Lapland? Come and visit us between March 9th and March 12th. I don't know where Lapland is. But can I buy a snowbot? Legal team says no. Snowbots can fire snowballs at 120 miles per hour, health and safety and all. So they had some fun with this. One of those promos that I didn't really hear a lot about. I just saw one link to it on one of the sites I follow. But something fun and unique to promote their new 5G phones, which you can't really get 5G service anywhere.
Yeah, well, they're always looking for ways to promote their products, and this is a clever and innovative way.
Yes. Something always clever and innovative are picks of the week.
So, as you know, Nate, I have 2 children.
Yes.
Take my children, please.
Yeah.
I have 2 children. One is of college age, and she will be going off to college soon. And so she's been getting all this material from the different Oregon schools that she's interested in, and they just start spamming. You get on a list, and it's like, come to our college, spend your $1 million for our worthless degree.
Yes.
Anyway, I am not normally a fan of this school due to sports rivalries and such, but she received this quaint little box from the University of Oregon, the old Oregon Ducks, quack, quack. A small box that looked like a box that business cards might come in.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what is this? And it's branded U of O and all green and yellow and all this stuff. And so you slide the box out, you open it up. It is a origami unfold Google Glasses type things.
Oh,
2 lenses with instructions. There's a printed barcode on there for you to scan to download the app. You download the app, put your phone in these Google style goggles, and you can see a virtual tour of the University of Oregon.
Wow.
And so my pick of the week is this University of Oregon app. Now, I'm sure other schools have done this. I'm sure other places have done this. But I was very impressed by this application. It starts you out flying above the campus, like in a hot air balloon, and you can look around with your Google Glasses all the way around. You can hover your little icon over points of interest, of which it zooms you down to the ground, kind of in a Google Street view of the campus. And then you can go inside of these buildings and learn more about the various campus life and activities. I just thought it was really cool.
Nice.
If you couldn't afford or had the time to fly to the University of Oregon to check out the campus, if you just had a little bit of time, you could certainly get a pretty good feel for what the campus life was like there just through virtual reality. So very neat. We can put a link to the app. It is available for both Android and iOS, but I was impressed. And of course, I quickly threw those away and got my drone goggles, which had much better lenses on them, and played with it some more. And I thought it was really cool.
Nice.
So this augmented reality world that we're entering into, that Tim Cook of Apple is so excited about, it's actually getting better and more useful, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's very cool. And in this coronavirus world, when you can take the campus tour from home, college campuses cannot be a helpful situation for coronavirus control.
College campuses all across the country. You can catch coronavirus or any other kind of nefarious type of viruses at those places. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, my pick of the week this week is something I've had for a couple weeks now. Now, we know I have the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which only has USB-C connections.
Wah, wah.
The new instead of the USB-A like we've had for a long time.
Right.
And I have a ton of old thumb drives. And I, for IT work, you're copying files for people doing this, that, and the other thing. I have all these old USB-A thumb drives. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I should get a good thumb drive that is USB-C.
Okay, so it's USB-C first. It doesn't need to be adapted in any way.
Yeah, I don't have to put a little dongle on there.
Yeah.
And then I started looking around on Amazon and I go, hey, you know what? What if I had one that was both?
What?
So this is a tiny little one, and I added it to my keychain, and I was thinking it's funny. I actually only have one key on my keychain, but I keep getting more and more things.
You got a multi-tool.
The Gerber multi-tool. I've got the InCharge 6 cable that we talked about before.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And the little Draplin keychain, and then my car key and the remote for that. But this is a tiny little drive.
Check this dude out.
128 gigabyte, and it kind of has a swivel on it, so it stays as small as possible, fits on the keychain, and then one end is USB-A and the other end is USB-C.
Very interesting. It seems to be a high quality, and as I spin it around, it clicks in and out of its little holster area.
Yeah, feels very sturdy. It's made out of metal. It feels secure.
This has got to be some type of aluminum alloy.
Yes, most likely.
I'm not a metallurgist, but it seems pretty nice.
Yes.
Wow, so you're probably going to ask me what I'd pay for one of these things.
Oh, sure.
So here's my criteria in figuring out this. It's 128 gigabytes, which is no small amount of things.
No, that's a lot of storage.
So that already puts it up, in my mind, to the $40 range. Because you can get like an SD card, 128 megabytes, from about $35 to $45 these days. Actually, probably cheaper than that, because I think the 256 costs that these days.
Yeah, the price keeps
dropping. So I'm actually going to say in the $20 to $40 range, right? So, but it's got USB Type-C on it also.
Yeah.
And it's in this nice case. And you picked this up on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this thing was $43.97.
Well, you would have paid too much. I found this gem for $26.99.
How?
And they have a little coupon button for an extra 15% off.
How are they making them that cheap?
I don't know. And I've used it a couple times. Seems to work well. I haven't had any issues with it.
I could get two of them for that.
Yeah. So nice little
That's cool
device. Which brings us to our Amazon purchase of the week. This week we have a fun one that is very topical. We have the Amazon brand Presto 308 sheet mega rolled toilet paper, ultra soft 24 count. Now I think we might have even picked toilet paper before for the Amazon pick, but with the coronavirus hysterics over toilet paper for absolutely no reason.
I still don't understand why people are hoarding toilet paper.
I don't.
Now, does this virus cause you to have diarrhea?
No, that is not a symptom. It is. I had a funny meme that I shared on Facebook about, the CDC telling somebody that they should be cautious, and they're like, basically the person's hearing them say snowstorm.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not planning on the power going out. We're not planning on paper production stopping.
Or from vehicles unable to transport goods across the country.
Yeah, so the toilet paper thing is completely absurd, but so I saw this. Somebody bought some toilet paper, a 24-roll pack here from Amazon. Now, the interesting thing is, to prove our point, this product will be back in stock March 25th.
Wow.
It's 2 weeks out.
I hope you don't have to go.
Order toilet paper on Amazon.
Wow. So just as a side note, I always thought that a case of toilet paper is one of those things that you cannot really discreetly order on Amazon. It's going to come in a giant box that says Charmin on it or whatever. It's like everybody knows you ordered toilet paper. Not that people
I don't think there's anything wrong with
there's no secret.
We do it. I believe we do it on the subscribe and save. So once a month we get our toilet paper shows up.
A whole case of this stuff?
Many other. Yeah, I don't know how much we use a month. Maybe it's less.
I'm kind of an elitist. I want to order like one roll a week. Or no, that's not enough. 3 rolls a week.
Yes.
And then just every week, new rolls are coming in.
Just have those fresh rolls. Don't have them sitting around.
I don't want stale rolls of toilet paper in my house. I want them to be fresh.
Yes. Well, you can do that with Subscribe and Save. They have a 6 count pack of 1. But for the 24 rolls, Dave, what would you pay?
Oh, for 24 rolls?
This is 308 sheet mega roll. Don't forget that one.
$18? I don't know. I have no concept.
$22.25 if you go with the Subscribe and Save, or $22.14 on the Subscribe and Save.
I just know what I pay at Costco.
Yeah, so. And one of the problems with ordering large, bulky, light items like this through a service like that is they're having to pay a lot more for shipping, and so the fees on that
because it takes up so much
thing.
space.
Yeah, you can get it free delivery, Prime free delivery, but they're having to pay more, so they have to probably charge a little more than you'd have at the grocery store.
I just thought of a $1 billion idea. What if we invented a new toilet paper delivery roll that had a smaller center peg so that you could fit more paper on the same roll? Why is the hole so big in those things?
Yeah.
That seems like wasted space.
Somebody
You're shipping
talked about
empty
getting
space.
rid of the middle altogether, but yeah, if you just
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
We're revolutionizing
homes. And guess what? For the first 6 months, every roll you buy will come with an adapter to have it fit inside your current system
No,
at home.
no hole TP. We're calling it tiny hole TP. Just
You heard
makes
it here
sense.
first.
Yeah, we got to get this,
Yeah.
get the domain name and everything before the show's released,
Yeah.
so nobody steals our idea, because that would be brutal if that happened.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to wrap up this episode this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new about technology. Share it with a friend and get out there and tech better.